Hi, welcome back to HIP, Season 2, Episode 3. Today I am joined once again by Richard from KSL, who is also the chairman of the KBSA, who I've mentioned previously on the show. So welcome back.
Thank you.
And again, Matt is joining us mainly because I've pulled him along because he doesn't get involved with this side of things very often, and I want to educate him. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for educating me.
So KBSA, I've mentioned about being a network of retailers who you can all trust and approach if you're looking to undertake a renovation of your own. But I'm sure Richard can go into a little bit more detail and explain what they do and some of those benefits.
Yeah, so it's well over 40 years old now. It was started by retailers and it's still retailers for retailers. And the real simple thing was they didn't want anyone to lose out from a KBSA member. So, back 40 odd years ago, there was a lot of businesses, not just kitchens, but that would have a Ferrari outside and the next day would be gone and deposits taken and things like that. So they didn't want that. So they created a scheme with a payment protection, which is, although it's changed over the years with the legal changes, it's still a big part of our offering. It's a great association that supports its members, but also does something that allows consumers to feel a lot more comfortable with who they're using. And that's done by the vetting and the ongoing vetting that we do financially. We look at the directors. We also get up to 10 references from their people that have used that company. And so, when you go into a KBSA member, they've been fully financially vetted. They've been vetted for their work. We see their showroom. And when they do Trustmark as well, which all of our members pretty much do, they get the Trustmark accreditation, and we actually go and visit their installation, which is ongoing, to see, to make sure, good practices involved and good health and safety and things like that. So they're really well vetted. So a consumer can comfortably go, they've been through a long process. That's made me a lot more comfortable with who I'm using.
Okay. And Trustmark is something that I think many people have heard of, but what is it that they offer? What are the benefits?
So Trustmark are the only government, they're owned by the government. It's a government product as such. And the KBSA are a scheme operator. Trustmark have got, we're aligned with our services and our terms and conditions and things like that. So they've got very high standards. You need to be able to offer payment protection, whether that's a credit card or a payment protection scheme like we offer. And there's lots what you need to align your business to, we offer good terms and conditions. We offer design. We're a bricks and mortar, and Trustmark just completely aligns with us, but gives a few extra benefits. For some people, there's some ways into government contracts and things like solar power schemes and things like that they offer that's different to what we could offer. But it's a free thing for our members, so they get it included in their membership, and it's just an extra accreditation that's government backed.
And other kind of bodies and things that you've looked at in the past that you thought you could be comparable or part of what the KBSA do?
Yeah, my dad always used to go into one. I won't name them. But they're a commercial organisation. They give you a badge and that's about it. And the badge means absolutely nothing. And I looked at a lot of them before we went into KBSA. So we remember before I joined the board and become chair, and we joined the KBSA because we liked that they vet you. They like that they ongoing vet you. They support you, and they, give you stuff like terms and conditions and help small businesses with that side of it that you normally, big businesses have a legal department and a HR department, and KBSA kind of cover that for us, which is really nice. But it's the vetting and the ongoing vetting and being specific to our industry, which not a lot is. Most other corporations are commercial. They're there to make money. They don't really care about the consumer. They don't really care about the installer or the showroom. Where we're non-for-profit, and we're owned. The directors are retailers, and we're doing things for retailers. So why we think the KBSA is really vital is because it is non-for-profit. It only cares about the industry and its members and their customers, and they do everything they can to help the retailer and make it more pleasurable for the consumer as well.
And you touched on the deposit protection, credit card, or the scheme that you can be involved with. What are the differences between the two options? What's the impact on clients?
So a credit card, obviously, there's it's obviously covered by well, not government, but the financial institutions. It's a legal requirement of the card. If you spend over £100, and I think it's under 38,000, I think it is at the moment, they will work for you to, if you've got a problem or you don't get it delivered, they will work for you. And it's obviously it's written in law, and that's what it is. With the deposit protection scheme that the KBSA offer, it has got certain limitations. So some companies would prefer credit card because they want to take a high deposit or something like that, which is fine, and they're able to do that. But it's a 25% maximum deposit. There's ongoing payments, but it's also work in progress. So if, for instance, you were having a kitchen done, a KBSA member, and you're in the deposit protection scheme, and halfway through they went out of business for whatever reason, with a small business, you can get the owner dies, something happens in the family, something happens in another business, or whatever it is. It doesn't just mean they've done things wrong. That scheme will take on and finish your project, get a like-for-like member, or the financial means to get that project finished. So it's a bit more than just a deposit protection scheme. It will cover sort of that work in progress, and it gives a major warranty on covers major warranties on an additional period as well. So it covers up to about 6 years, I think, on additional warranty. So if for instance we're not here and your doors start going, they will pick that up and fix that as well.
That's one that I hadn't picked up on, so that's something I'll
there's a lot more to it
back.
than obviously the financial one with the credit card is a financial transaction, and that's what it's about. It can be there is a bit of blurred lines, but it can obviously I buy a washing machine, it doesn't arrive, I can then instruct them to get the money back because it hasn't arrived. That's quite a simple one. But if it's a bit more difficult, if you buy a kitchen, some of it's arrived, some of it's not arrived, or whatever's happened, the business has gone out, and because ultimately you want your kitchen done, the money's one thing, but you want that kitchen, you've had part ripped out or whatever, and that's where the KBSA scheme can be much more beneficial.
And kind of, Matt, we spent years toying with becoming a KBSA member or not. A couple of visits by people to kind of talk us through what the benefits were, and it wasn't until around 5 years ago that we made that jump, with the deposit protection being the key thing. But since being members, I mean, how have you seen the KBSA influence what we do as retailers?
I think it gives us a confidence, because we know that we're part of an institution that is supporting us and supporting our customers if the worst would happen. And you see that it's a subtlety. It's not like people are shouting it from the rooftops, but that deposit protection gives people that reassurance that they would be protected in that, worst case scenario. Fortunately, it hasn't happened, and it doesn't happen to many, but people do get
we talk about it like Atoll. You wouldn't book a holiday with a non-Atoll dealer, and if you're abroad and the airline goes, the Atoll protection gets you home, and that's kind of how I show it within my business. We supply it because we think it's the right thing to do for our customer, and you want that extra protection. If you go away, you get Atoll, then why not have the KBSA protection when you're fitting something so large in your home?
Which probably you'd spend a lot more on a kitchen perhaps than a holiday.
Yeah.
So it's a big investment.
And it can go up to a big, it's with an insurance now because that's the law. You can't just do it on bonds like they used to. But you can speak to the insurer and say, I've got a project that's 150,000, and they'll work it in. So it's not just, they obviously put the standard in, and I can't remember what the standard goes up to now. So it's probably about 75 or something like that. But you can go above that if you need to. You just need to speak to them, and they look at the product and they sign it off. So it's a good scheme. And I use it as the atoll for the holiday industry in my business.
That's a really good example.
And obviously in times like now, it's over the last year, it's been up and down with government changes and finances and things like that. And it's a time like this that it really helps consumers feel more comfortable as well, and gives retailers something else to sort of say, well, look, we're covering you, which is nice. And the only way we can supply that product is with people that are vetted and financially sound. And it sounds a bit stupid. You've got that protection because you're financially sound. Anyone can go at any point because of a lot of different factors. But the KBSA members are fully vetted, which means the insurers are confident that they supply this product to them. And it's just that sort of security.
And it is full-on vetting. I think in the past that's made me a little bit nervous, just being concerned that maybe I have done something wrong. But that you ask for a long list of clients and presumably then select the 10 out of there. And then you've got the finances, the accounts from the years before, that's all checked up, reading all the terms and conditions, visiting, all of that is actually done, unlike others that you've said. And also between the credit card and the deposit protection, that value difference of what's protected and what an average project cost is for us, I think is a big difference. And I think that one of the things I've found as a growing business, having that as a backup has also given our staff confidence. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I think it really helps with that kind of unity of being part of something. It all kind of works, falls into place, and all the staff, they all come together that little bit more.
Yeah, because I've had guys that own their own business has gone, I've financially checked you. I know you're good, and I've also had people say, I was going to go and spend my money with this company, but I financially vetted them through their scheme. And I'm not going with them anymore. I'm going to come with you. But also the payment protection adds that. And lots of people don't get access to look at financial records and things like that. So it's nice to know that not only you getting that protection, but there's a lot of financial vetting and background done to it as well. So it's almost double bubble, if you know what I mean, with that.
Definitely. I also think that it's quite a lonely scenario running your own business. And you mentioned when we were speaking about the outdoor kitchens, it being more of a group thing and sharing, whereas we keep everything together and it's kind of close to ourselves. But within the KBSA, people are a lot more willing to share ideas and help other people grow. And I think, Matt, would you agree that we found the events and meeting some of the people that we have who've provided us with challenges, but good ones that have meant that we've been able to grow as a business and be more confident in the way to go forward or not to go forward in some of those cases.
Definitely. I mean, some of the things that we've learnt while at the KBSA conference have been, really useful. And meeting other dealers as well and understanding how we share difficulties and things like that. It really does help.
Because sometimes just knowing you're not, you come and go, every customer lately have come in and said, I'm not going to sign up for 5 months. I'm like, I'm on my own. It's just me. And then everyone goes, same for me. Yeah, same for me. And it's just like, okay, let's crack on and let's go for it. But sometimes that can put you back. But, hearing it from other people and you're in the same boat or, it's quite nice because it's national. You're getting a lot of different views and opinions. And I think that's probably the best part of it is is the network in the community, even if it's I need a product or does anyone know where I can get this from? It's helpful. And I get lots of phone calls saying, do you know anyone that does this? And I can pass them around. It is a nice community.
Definitely. And I think in those moments where things are tough as well, if you hear that other people are going through that, it picks you up and you're able to deliver that service again and find that enthusiasm to deliver the service that you're setting out to do rather than getting kind of bought down with it.
Yeah, and I really want, because we do get some new members. I mean, most members have to be 2 years to be in it because it's part of the vetting and things like that. But we've got the sort of foundation membership side, which is like the early adopters. And I think they're really important because businesses that start only last about 2 years, you know, or they don't last the 2 years, sorry. And by getting that support, a bit of legal support, a bit of financial support, a bit of HR, you know, you don't make those simple mistakes at the start. And I really want to bring some sort of mentoring into that side as well. So new businesses get some experienced members, almost like buddy systems and things like that. And I think that would work really well across association because that interaction is the best thing. And there's a lot of experience in there. But on the flip side, there's a lot of younger people coming in and a lot of young designers, and it's really refreshing to hear from them as well. So that's what's so great about like the conference. You get someone who's been in it for 40 years. You've got someone that's just joined this year from maybe a different path, a different degree or a different way. They're sharing their experiences and their knowledge, and then other people around them are hearing that, and they're, you know, you're picking bits out, and it's just such a nice part of it.
And I think, every retailer who's a part of that comes away with something, whether they're the 40-year-old business that's been going and they maybe have learned something about where the market is going and what they should be doing and how they need to adjust, and as well as helping those younger businesses as well. It's definitely everyone grows for it without a doubt.
And people are very forthcoming with information, which is nice.
Yeah. So obviously people can find retailers via the KBSA website, and you're growing the social media side of things. So follow on social media, you can do that. But what would either of you have as advice for people looking for retailers as being able to identify someone who is forthcoming and trustworthy, and maybe some of the red flags if you go into some retailers? You know, what would you advise clients on looking out for?
I think it's quite tough to look out for red flags. I mean, you could say some things like, for example, if a place isn't open, you might sort of think that's a bit strange, but that might be a completely legitimate circumstance.
Could be a sick child that they've had to go home for.
You don't know, do you? So you don't want to be sort of making any careless judgments. But certainly having an identity as a member of a trade organisation is a good sign. Doesn't mean you should leave it there and only refer to that as a tick box, because there are so much more you can do to look into them. But as Richard said, that not everybody is able to look into details of financial situations of a business, and if a company or an organisation rather like KBSA is doing that for you as a consumer, this is a massive time saver, and it's giving consumers that reassurance that business is stable, that business has been there and doing a good job for some time, because you know you need a collection of clients to check out. You need to build those up. They don't happen overnight.
No, that's right. And there is still people that are like, say they're a business and work from their bedroom and things like that, and they haven't got the backing behind it. You haven't got a premises, you know. Even going to a big boy, once you've bought from a big supplier, you're a number. You know, you don't go back to that same designer and say, oh, my kitchen's not quite right. It's like, yeah, deal with head office. It's you know, you're gone. Where with an independent retailer, there's a showroom. You can walk into it and sort of say, I'm not happy with that. And that straight away is a nice thing with all members have to have a showroom, and we vet that. So, you know, if every time we go in there's one display fitted and everything's that would be discussed and talked about, and then potentially they'd be then suspended and left, because they're supposed to have a working showroom. They're supposed to be fully functional showroom. They're not supposed to be, we get that people change their showroom and sometimes that takes time. But if it's constantly bits missing thing, it's a bit of a telltale, like, why is a sink missing there and there's an oven missing there and they haven't done that? There's a bit of telltale there sometimes. And I would on a big purchase, we don't do this in the UK. Like we are very trusting, seen the guy, he's a lovely bloke, all that. We're very trusting, but I would always go on the Gov website and check the company out and then search the director, because it's funny, sometimes you see they've got like multiples of CCJs. You can see some of that information for free, or they've got multiple companies and they're all dissolving and they've got holding companies. Sometimes you can get those telltale signs, but it is difficult for Joe Public to go and find a kitchen showroom. But I mean, we're 36 years old. I would ask your friends, as well, and get that recommendation. But that is the lovely thing about the KBSA, that they're constantly vetting you and supporting you. I always tell manufacturers that if you're a massive company, you've got, through that door is your HR department, through that door is your financial department, that's the legal department, and they've got everything ticked off. They've got employees to cover it. Where, our businesses, we haven't got all that. We have to pay for those services on an ad hoc basis or whatever. And that's where the KBSA comes in as your back office. Because, if you've got a bit of a HR issue, something a bit more complicated, or you've got a customer with, a legitimate complicated issue, you can go on on the legal helpline that the KBSA provides and get that information from a proper solicitor without having to go, it's £400 or £500 here, or book a session, wait a week, whatever it is. You can instantly pick up the phone and find out the information. And that makes a retailer strong, because a small thing with an employee that you could have sorted out with a little thing there can take a small company down. Yeah. If you don't do it properly. And it's not us trying to be, as an independent, we're not trying to be, let's not do it properly.
We don't have the knowledge.
Your knowledge or the time, or we can't be everything. And that's what I really love, that the KBSA, and I've used it a few times for little checks and things like that, and it saved me a lot down the line, or it saved a lot of time. And it's normally innocent little things that you want to just nip in the bud, or tweak your terms and conditions and make sure that's legal, putting that in, because terms and conditions, you can't just put anything in there and go, the customer signed it, so but it's not legal. So, so you can check these little things, and obviously that sort of thing is there to protect consumer and retailer. And it's just those sort of things that I love about it, the community and the fact that you've got that support, that you don't go down a rabbit hole, and that makes you a stronger business.
I think also, not everyone out there has this as a consideration, but if there are people who have their own business, it may be more something they're considering when they're approaching another small business for purchase, is with those supports provided, that the company isn't only trying to do right by the consumer, but by their employees as well, and make sure that they're providing everything that they reasonably can within the means that they've got as well. So you've got all of that support. That you're going to find the staff there when you go back. It's not a high turnover, theoretically. High turnover of staff, and people enjoy working there and enjoy the job and want to see the completion and their satisfied client as well. And I think that kind of adds some support behind that too.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you've got any questions, pop it into the comments section. We'll always be happy to help and answer. And I'll make sure everyone is tagged, so you can get in touch, follow, and find your local retailers as well. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us and listening to HIP, your home improvement podcast by Lima Kitchens. We hope you enjoyed the topics we discussed today. Feel free to hit like, share, and subscribe to get details on further topics we will be discussing. If you have any topics you'd like us to address and talk about directly, please feel free to send them through. We'd love to hear from you.